A Kalashnikov on one hand, a microphone on the other. That's how the Taliban see themselves. Not as the violent, regressive usurpers that they are, but as new and improved rulers. Yesterday we heard a 1-hour sermon on this changed Taliban. It was their first press conference in 20 years. What did the Taliban say? A bunch of lies, a whole lot of propaganda. I'm sure you all saw it. Most of the journalists focused on the future of Afghan women. Would they retain their rights? Here's how the Taliban responded.
God willing, in accordance with Sharia law, we will allow women to work. Women are an important element of the society and we respect them. In all walks of life where the society needs them, they will have active presence.
How generous of them. Notice some of the language used. They will allow women to work. Why do women need the Taliban's permission to work? Why is it a handout and not a right? And there's more. Towards the end of the statement, the spokesperson says, and I'm quoting, where the society needs them, they will have presence. What are these needs? And who decides these needs? It's another way of saying women will have limited options. The Taliban will decide what jobs women can have. Overriding all of this is, of course, a big caveat. The Sharia or the Islamic law. It's like saying terms and conditions apply. Human rights as per the Sharia, religious freedoms as per the Sharia, journalism as per the Sharia. One problem though, Islamic law is open to interpretation and the Taliban's interpretation is beyond brutal. You may remember their first stint in power. Punishments included public stoning, whipping and hangings. No trial, by the way, straight to punishment. All kinds of music and musical instruments were banned. So were paintings and movies. And for women, life was behind the burqa. They had to stay at home. If they must step out, they should do so with male relatives. How much of this has changed? The Taliban would want us to believe that this is their second coming. For sure, some things have changed, but most of these changes are cosmetic. The Taliban now drive around in SUVs, they tweet from smartphones, they share videos on social media, some of them speak polished English. But what about their ideology? They're still stuck in the caves of Kandahar. And I'll give you an example. This is a statement from Taliban spokesperson Zabiullah Mujahid. In 2018, the same man who held the press conference yesterday, this is what he said, and I'm quoting again, "We are not against women working in government organizations or against their outdoor activities, but we will be against the alien culture clothes worn by women brought to our country." And that's precisely the problem here. Freedom cannot come on the Taliban's terms. Rights cannot be open to religious interpretation like this. What's even more appalling is the reaction to this press conference. The world is playing the waiting game, satisfied it seems with the Taliban's promises. Promises that they're already breaking, by the way. And we have some examples tonight. This is from the Takhar province in the northeast. The Taliban shot and killed a woman on Tuesday. What for? Because she had not covered her head. That was her crime, not covering her head. She's dead. Case number 2. The Taliban say they want women in government. Well, Salima Mazari is a woman. She's in the government. One of the few women governors in Afghanistan. Guess where she is right now? Reports say in Taliban custody. You see, this excuse of the Sharia is a slippery slope. And we've seen it before in countries like Iran. Before the Islamic Revolution, women went to college. They wore what they liked. They roamed freely on the streets. But look at things now. Women are covered in full veil. 75% of children who skip school are girls in Iran. And that's thanks to the Sharia law. And this did not happen overnight. Iran's interpretation of the Sharia hardened over decades. Today, it's not the rule of law, it's the rule of Sharia. Punishments include flogging and amputations. Could Afghanistan go the same way? There's every possibility it could. Let me show you why. This is Afghanistan in the 1970s. These are Afghan women. No signs of a burqa. Women are attending college. They're having a good time at parties. This was Afghanistan before the Taliban. It looks like a modern society. Now look at Afghanistan today. The attire has changed. The freedoms have disappeared. The parties are rare, let alone women at parties. What has changed between then and now? The arrival of the Taliban. Let me show you some pictures you've most probably already seen. These are Afghans trying to flee. Do you know what people are asking? Where are the women and children? Why do we see only men here? What do we say? This is the new Afghanistan where the place for a woman is shrinking. Do you know how many women we are talking about here? 14.2 million. 14.2 million women in Afghanistan have been abandoned by their president. 14.2 million women have been abandoned by so-called human rights champions the world over. Today, their tormentors are outside their doors, and the world is quoting statements from press conferences. It's sad, it's tragic, it makes you angry, but what can you do? A lot, I say. Afghan women are not in a position to raise their voice. Some of them are standing up, yes, but most of them are not in a position to do it. It's not an option for them. They can't even ask for help. The Taliban are always watching. But we can be their voice. We can tell their stories, their hardships, their bravery, their spirit of resistance. And we plan to do that on this show. Starting today, we'll carry reports on Afghan women on Gravitas every day, and I urge women across the world to join in. This is a community of 3.8 billion people. There are 3.8 billion women across the world. We have led revolutions. With one hashtag, women have toppled powerful men. Me Too brought down predators across the world. Just a hashtag and stories. It can make a lot of difference. They can be powerful. And it's time to do it again. Hashtag Save Afghan Women. Write to us, get on social media, organize protests, launch fundraisers, whichever part of the world you're in. Put pressure on your government. Don't let them forget that 14 million Afghan women have been chained by a brutal regime. 25 years ago, the world abandoned a whole generation of Afghan women. They still bear the scars of that oppression. We can't afford a repeat. We have a chance to save the next generation, but only if all of us join the fight. Save Afghan women. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.